All right, traders, before I get into the watch list video for Thursday, September 2nd, I'm going to remind everybody the market is closed Monday for Labor Day. So we are in, the last couple days before a holiday weekend, and then next week will be 4 days after a holiday weekend, which typically just continues the August deadness. Is deadness a word? I don't know, but it applies here even if it's not a word. And so you can see today another just really, really narrow range day, very low volume. Still some pretty neat calls in chat. I got to start with Nicholas because this is one of the best calls you'll ever see percentage-wise in a few hours, right? There's the daily on FCUV. Wayne put this on the morning gap playlist in the pre-market. Let me get after hours off of here. I was watching some stocks in after hours. Let's go to 5-minute candles. So it was already on Wayne's list, and it ended up kind of taking off, topping out right there at 750. Nicholas put the idea in the room back over 750 after it flagged for a little bit. Look at that. Okay, I mean, how many times can you buy a stock at 750 and it goes to 24.48 that same day? That's insane, but really, really nice call by Nicholas. Wayne called AI, and which, by the way, I think reported after hours, which is why we always say we rent them. We never hold overnight. These are day trades. Wayne called AI over 54 right here, and it ended up going to 55, 58 on about 30 cents risk. So a neat little call there. And then I called ATER. We already had it on Bounce Watch. I'll show you what the daily looked like. So you had the nice pop, then the gap up, and a couple red days. I had it on Bounce Watch, so then you can see the nice bounce today. How did I call it in chat? Well, if you were there, you already know. Just over the early high. This is the opening 5-minute candle, topped out at 615. I called the opening range breakout if it broke 615, and there you go. And it ended up going all the way to 8. So that's a $1.85 move in our favor on about 16 cents risk. Excuse me. So there's some highlights from today. Pretty neat day for when you consider how dead the market was. I actually have a decent sized list for tomorrow, but remember, low volume, don't overtrade and don't oversize in this market. MRIN had the nice pop here and it's kind of coiling. So I'm still keeping that one on long watch. NEGG, you have to kind of squint to see it, but today topped out right around 2050, 2047, I think. And then a few days before that, 2053, and the day before that, 2122. So you have another one that kind of had a nice pop and it's coiling. And if you look to the left there, you can say, yes, it's definitely a recent high flyer and has the ability to squeeze and has decent support below. Very squinky trader though, so be careful with it. ELYS, just looking for a third day play. Had the big pop 2 days ago, then the quiet inside day, and I'm looking for a third day play. We'll see if we get it. SGOC had the nice pop here and kind of coiling and starting to curl back up. So that goes on long watch. RDHL had the really big 3-day rip, then today gapped down a bit, sold off, but then went out at its high. So it's really interesting. Over today's high, maybe it makes a move at yesterday's high if that happens. VLON had a nice pop yesterday, kind of like RDHL has an inside day today. We'll see if it gives us a setup. ATER, already talked about my call on that one today. You had a big 2-day run, or I should say a day and then a gap up, but it's curling back up. Definitely going to go on long watch for tomorrow. TKAT had the nice rip here and really kind of flagging and holding up pretty well. So potential trade there in one of the NFT plays. GAMB had it on Bounce Watch today. I didn't take a trade, and it actually kind of gave a setup, if you ask me, over the early high, right? It's kind of in a narrow range, but it felt like nobody was trading it. It had almost no volume. Then it broke the range. Still chopped around for a while before it finally got going near the end of the day. I never found a way in. But a strong day after a strong rip and a couple-day pullback, it deserves a place on the watch list for tomorrow. RKLY, big volume for the stock, closing well off its highs, but we're going to keep that one on watch. Lucid LCID, I put this on a gap down bounce play watch today when I saw it gapping down. I did not get an entry though because, excuse me, it gapped down and just ran. It's really tough to find something, a setup when that happens, where you don't feel like you're chasing. But, today may have been a short-term or long-term bottom after that gap down. Excuse me, buyers stepped in. So for that reason, I am putting it on long watch for a continuation of the bounce tomorrow. Couple more RNXT goes on bounce watch. This thing has only been trading for 5 days, but 3 days ago, it went from 681 to 1674. It hasn't round tripped, so I still think it's worth watching as a bounce play tomorrow. Only with one of our A+ setups. And then last thing, I'm going to throw SPRT on there, which had this crazy squeeze. And now, you know, if you look at it, it's got 1, 2, 3 days in a row with lower highs, getting down to the 8 day. So if it gives a proper A+ setup, I'll probably try that as a bounce play as well. We'll find some gappers in the pre-market to add to this list. Should be plenty going on tomorrow. But remember, don't oversize and don't overtrade in the low volume environment that we're in. All right, I'm done babbling. We'll see everybody in the chat room in the morning.